Right. Okay, so here we are then to talk about the brain with Fannis. And Fannis, this is the first time that we've met, actually. I discovered you at a conference, and I can't remember which conference it was now, because I've been to so many. But I saw you talking about the brain, and you were talking about brain breaks, brain pauses, I remember.
Yes.
And I just remember thinking, oh, this is the kind of person that I need to follow and I need to be in contact with, because I'm a little bit obsessed with the brain as well. So could you introduce yourself to us, please?
Yes, Lisa, thank you. Yes, my name is Fannis Coronado, as you can see. I'm an English teacher and neuroeducational specialist. I have more than 12 years of experience teaching and 3 or more years training teachers in this topic, this amazing topic that is the brain-based learning.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get interested in this?
Okay, that was a long story, but for Kathy and that I was interested in this topic when I before study for being an English teacher. But when with the pass of the years and when this I teach English for children and for adults, and I realized that something was missing in order to have an amazing class, to design the class, to be efficient and effective in order to this relationship, teach and learning languages. And I found many answers, lots of answers in the brain-based learning. Yes, so it allows you to design better class because you focus your activities more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So were you working, can I just ask, were you working with children or adults?
Now I'm working with children, and I work with adults when I train for in this topic. I train teachers.
Okay, great. So Fannis, what do you think our students need to know about their brain to help them learn better?
Okay, I think that there are many things that they need to learn about the brain, because brain is amazing and brain is an unstoppable topic to learn. But I think that the most important things that they need to know is the elements that are involved in learning, and they have to include it in in their processes. For example, you can consider that light or that the temperature it's irrelevant for learning, but it is not. Researchers said a different thing about it. Temperature, light, the water, the food that you eat is important in the process learning, the learning process, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Sleep as well. No.
Yes. Oh, sorry, one moment. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I was just saying, I live in Spain, and it's quite often in the news that Spain is a country where people tend to stay up very late, and I heard that it was the country in Europe that we have the least sleep. And I can believe it. And because I also teach, apart from teaching or coaching adults online, I also teach in a secondary school. And you know, I notice quite often that my students are very tired. And when I ask them sometimes, you know, they stay up very late, and you know, they're doing homework until very late at night. And we know that this is just not it's just not what the brain wants, is it?
That's right.
So yeah, so I think it's something that we need to address. Hi, we've got Manuel's joining us. I'm just going to well, when you can hear us, I'll just... Hi, Manuel.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, fine. Manuel, just to tell you that we're recording this interview and I'm going to put it on a blog post. So if you're not happy appearing on camera, you can turn off your camera. But if you're happy, that's fine.
I don't mind.
Okay.
That's the
Okay,
attitude.
great. Sorry. Okay, so Manuel. So yeah, we were just talking about what students need to know about the brain to help them learn better. And Fanist has mentioned eating. What else did you mention, Fanist? My memory is terrible.
Light, temperature.
Temperature, lighting, exercise, sleep.
Yes, the food that you eat, there's good sleep.
Yeah, and it's like it's something. Although you know, these are not things that we would typically maybe associate with learning as a student, but especially food. You would think, well, you know, why would food help me learn better? But now we know that it is super important, isn't it?
That's correct. That's for example, if you have a high sugar or a high carbohydrate diet, is less probably that you learn better.
Why is that?
If you focus eat your food in vegetables and or in proteins more than carbohydrates and sugar, your learning is going to be better. That's because you tend, when you eat lots of carbohydrates, you tend to be tired more.
Okay, so going back to that getting enough rest so that our brain is in a good place for learning.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It isn't in the good condition. Because we need a condition to learn too. We need a perfect environment with good light. You need to drink water in order to hydrate your brain. Well, hydrate when you are studying, especially when you have long periods study. You need hydrate more.
Okay, so keeping our brain hydrated.
Exactly.
Sorry, Manuel, could you just put your could you just go on mute while you're not speaking? Because I can hear I don't know if it's no, not your video camera, just your microphone. Well,
no, you know.
So no, now we can't see you, but we can hear you. If we can not hear you but see you, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm happy to see you. Just I don't know if it's the birds in the background or what I can hear.
Yeah. Let me go out and I come back. Okay.
It's just to mute your microphone. That's all.
Right now I can see.
If you just tap on your screen.
Sorry.
No. Wait a minute. I can silence you. It's okay. I'll silence you.
Yes, it's another option.
Yeah. There, I've silenced. Sorry, Manuel. I'll unmute you soon, okay? And you can ask questions. Okay. So, Farnese, one of the things that my students struggle with is remembering things, memory, and I know that this is something that you're very interested in.
Yes, yes. And not only for children, to adults. And I think that this memory is a great topic to get to know. And first thing is that we don't have bad memory. This is a myth.
Right. Oh, now it's just getting super interesting.
Welcome back.
I don't know. It was a myth.
How it's possible? How
A
it's possible
myth that we
this is
don't
myth,
have a bad memory.
We don't have. It's very funny, very funny, but right now I know how to do it.
Ah, you know how to mute and unmute. That's great. Farnese, are you back?
Yes. I'm here.
Great, great. We love you. You left us on a cliffhanger. Okay. So it's a myth. It's a myth that we have bad memories.
Yes, we don't have bad memory. What we have is an untrained memory. And why is it? It is because we tend to think that memory is a unique thing, but it is not. We have three types of memory. We have the sensory memory, and this is the memory that with you catch things from the real world. And you don't have interpretation. You only have the real thing, the essential of the things in the sensory memory. And then this is a, a memory that lasts 2 or 3 seconds. That's really quick. Okay, so then we have this short-term memory. And this short-term memory is a memory that you need to plan. You need to solve problems, and you need to learn because when you need to retain things in order to use in the future. So in this case, in short-term memory, you need to know that it has a very small capacity, and you have to train the correct. You need to have the correct strategies to train this type of memory, because this is a memory that you need to. It is subdivided in semantic and episodic too, and this is also called the working memory. And you need to have the correct strategies in order to, if you need the episodic, for example, episodic memory is the memory that you use or in which store information, pieces of information about moments, especially if these moments are linked with an emotion. It doesn't matter if the emotion is negative or positive. For this reason, we have to select what kind of information we get from the world. And another is the semantic memory, is the memory that works with the data, facts. And you need, for example, for this kind of memory, you need the repetition, it works. And you need the mnemotechnics is good for this memory, for this kind of memory, if you need to retain this information. And we have another memory that is the long-term memory. This long-term memory is an unconscious memory. It's different from a short-term memory, that is the memory that you recall. You are conscious that you want to remember things, but in long-term memory, yes, is different. Is an unconscious memory. This is the procedural memory. It is called to the muscle memory, the memory that you use to learn a choreography, the memory that you need when you use when you learn how to ride a bike. You can have long periods without riding a bike. But if you have a bike and you start riding, you remember it. You don't know how to do it, but you remember it. And for this reason, memory is, I said at the beginning that we don't have bad memory. We only have, we don't know how our memory works. If most of the students could know how this memory works, their learning process could be better.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is one of my missions in life, is to help students to understand how they learn, because I think it's a missing piece of the puzzle. You know, they just get we throw facts and information at them. You know, and we may I teach English in a secondary school, and you know, you might say, oh, learn this vocabulary. So students, you know, but they don't know how to learn it. They don't know what to do. And I think, you know, it's a real injustice that we're doing them, because we're asking them to do something that they don't necessarily have the resources or the capacity to do, because we're not giving them the information they need. And I think, you know, I think the problem in schools is that, you know, everything is so rushed. You know, they're working through a textbook, and you know, we feel that we don't have time to stop. And I think it's so important that we stop and do the groundwork first, which will make learning faster, actually, and much more sustainable and much more longer lasting, I think.
Yes, you're right. For example, if you say to your students, you have to learn the vocabulary. The average of words that you can make them learn is from 5 to 9 in each period of class. I'm talking. I mean 40 minutes for one class. In 40 minutes, they are able to understand, handle, use vocabulary, nine words in a vocabulary word list. But you need to stimulate will. For example, the more senses you use in order to to teach the vocabulary, the better they are going to understand. They are going to recall the vocabulary, because this is the semantic. And if you do the repetition of the words, and you do this strategy, only 9 words per period, your teaching learning process is going to be better. Efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all the repetition for the semantic side, but I like what you said about the episodic memories, because I'm a big fan of storytelling to help us remember. And you know, even if a story can be a very short anecdote, it doesn't have to be a long story, but linking the vocabulary that we're learning to some kind of emotion. Like you said, it doesn't have to be a positive emotion. You know, it may be something that has made us feel sad or angry, or you know, but linking it to some kind of emotion, I think, is such a powerful thing, and can really help students to recall that vocabulary. It certainly helps me as a language learner to do that. What do you think about storytelling?
I think that this is one of the best tools to learn vocabulary, because you link emotions, you link a situation. It could be invented or it could be real, because you can take from several students and create a story there. This is another way. Yeah. And you can, when you have the tools, when you have the knowledge that you need things, that you need situations, moments, emotions, motivation, you have more tools to work with vocabulary in this case.
Exactly, which kind of leads me into the next thing which my students have problems with, which is being autonomous and doing things by themselves. But I think part of the problem is that they don't have the tools they need to be autonomous because we're not giving them to them.
Exactly. I could be, I'm lucky on my daughter and my son are being lucky because I have the tools in order to learn another language. They don't only speak Spanish, they are able to speak English, and my baby daughter is learning German. And if we have all the tools and we have the information, you can do it better. And in this case, to be autonomous, as you say, if they don't have the tools, it is a little difficult, complicated to reach that goal. But all these topics that we have told in this webinar or this moment is we can sum up in habits. If you have good habits, if you know what are the habits that you need, okay, you can reach that goal to be autonomous. Because some people say, is that because you need discipline? You need to be disciplined. But discipline, you construct this discipline when you have the correct habits, and it means healthy habits in food, exercise. Because, for example, students need to be motivated. But if you don't have a real motivation, I don't know, a travel that you need to, a travel in which you can use your language, or if you don't have a real motivation, that brain-based learning help you with that. In how? How a brain-based learning can help you? We know that if we release dopamine is a natural motivator, okay? And how we can release that? With exercise. With exercise, if we have good habits, exercise habits, we can release dopamine naturally. And you don't need energizers, you don't need extra help.
So it's all connected, isn't it? If we have a good habits, good sleep habits, good eating habits, good exercise habits, this is going to help us have good language learning habits.
Exactly.
Because we're going to be in a better condition to learn.
Yes, you are totally right.
Yeah. Oh, that all sounds fantastic. How do you
yes, it is not so difficult as we think. That's because
no,
we have to need the knowledge.
Yeah, I think that the problem is not that it's whether it's difficult or it's not difficult. I think the problem is there's just a lack of understanding of how important it is and how beneficial it is. And I think it's like I said before, for certainly here in Spain, language teaching is focused on purely the language, teaching the vocabulary, the grammar, maybe some pronunciation work if there's time. And for me, it's much more, learning a language is so much more than that. We have to work on ourselves. We have to be more self-aware. Fortunately, I think the social emotional learning side of things is working its way into curriculum slowly. But I think the problem is with adult learners. I mean, we'll perhaps ask Karina and Manuel in a moment, that they've gone through a system at school which was very traditional, and based on vocabulary, grammar, and you know, they have, when we grow older, we, you know, we're left with, these are our lasting memories of what we have, you know, that's what we think, you know, that's how we do things. And it's very difficult to change our way of doing things, isn't it? Because our brain likes to be safe, doesn't it? And it likes certainty. And when we start to think about, well, maybe there's a different way to do things, maybe that's not the best way, then our brain goes crazy. I was like, oh no.
But I have a good news. I have good news because one of the things that I discovered when I start reading and when I start planning, designing activities, doing classes, making classes, and was the neuroplasticity of the brain. And we can say, oh yes, it's difficult, or it's difficult to change the way in which we do things. But if we do tiny changes, we can do remarkable habits.
Yes, exactly. This is what I love. Yeah, small things lead to great things, I think. And that's what I'm constantly telling my students. You know, it's just taking small steps, and once you start to do things consistently, it becomes a habit. And then, you know, we don't have to worry about, you know, being disciplined and consistent, because it's just a habit and it's what we do. And you know, the more familiar it becomes, the easier it is. I always like the analogy, the image of I can't remember where I heard it or I saw it, talking about neuroplasticity. Is you know, when you walk through a forest that, you know, nobody has walked through, or you haven't walked through before, there's no path there, or, you know, the path isn't very clear or obvious. But the more you walk the same path, the more obvious the path becomes, until it's very clear and you know exactly where you're going, and it's very easy to follow that path. Unfortunately, this has happened to my lawn. You know, that's the way we go to hang out our clothes, and now I don't have any grass in a certain part of my lawn because we've all walked that part so often. But it's I think it's a really nice analogy, you know.
Yes, I think the same. Yes,
it's difficult in the beginning, and it's not so clear the way, and it's not so obvious, but it does. The more we do it, the more we walk it, the more the clearer it becomes and the easier it becomes. But it's taking that first step and having the mindset to you know, to take a risk and to try something new. But I think it's you know, it's something that we have to promote and we have to encourage in our students, because the benefits are just too great to ignore.
exactly. And you can realize or you don't realize when you have the good results, because you are focused or concentrated in maintain the habits and keep the habits. And when you want to see, you have a good result.
Yeah, I think this is another thing, isn't it? Patience, having patience, because we're not going to see the results immediately. So we need to be patient, and we just need to keep going and establish those habits, because the results will happen. They will come.
Exactly. That is something that we can escape. The good results, when you establish a habit, the good results, you can't escape from the good results. Okay, so this is the good path.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like to add before I ask if Karina or Manuel would like to ask any questions? Is there anything that you absolutely think that our students need to know?
I like to talk about the habits, because one of the things that we need to know is that a habit takes 22 days to start. This is only to start. And people think, I need only 21, 22 days to establish a habit. No, we need 21 or 22 days to start the habit. Then we need 22 days more to consolidate, to make sure that you have this habit in your life. And you need 22 days more that in which you are not gonna realize that the habit is happening in your life, is making changes.
Okay, so
So
yeah,
it
this
is not
it's a
21 or
myth,
22
isn't it?
days, it's 66 days.
Yeah, this is a myth, isn't it? The 21 days to form a habit. I've read about that. Yeah. But yeah, but definitely worth it. I think definitely worth it. And at the end of the day, 66 days is not that many days, is it?
But you
when
are
the
gonna
benefits,
sure that you have your habits.
yeah, because the benefits are for life. So
Exactly,
really
exactly.
it's not
That's the point.
too much of a sacrifice, I don't think.
Exactly. And researchers say that if you start with making your bed, you can, have you heard about it? If you start making your bed, you can start any habit. Have you
If
heard
you-
about it?
No.
Yes, because this is only that you keep doing all days, every day. If you can keep this tiny thing, you can build a habit.
Right, okay,
Any.
great. Oh, great. Okay. Right, I'm gonna ask, are you happy to answer questions if Karina or Manuel have any questions?
Yes. If I don't
Um,
know, I can say I don't know. Or how can we?
Absolutely. We
Or
could,
can,
yeah,
where
yeah,
we
yeah,
can
yeah.
have the answers.
Exactly. And if we don't have the answer, there'll be somebody out there who does, who can Manuel, Karina, do you have any questions? I mean, you can put them in the chat box, or you can come onto the mic. Manuel is going to go quiet. He usually has questions. Manuel.
Karina?
Manuel, please, you first.
Thanks, Karina.
But
No,
or questions or comments. If you have any comments, anything that you'd like to comment on that Vanessa's talked about.
yeah, for me it was really strange to listen that sensory memory is only 2-3 seconds, because it's something that for me is, well, if you see something that really, I don't know how to say in English, take your attention, or something very strange, or not so strange, you remember a smell, or something beauty, something really ugly, is more than 2-3. And I consider that I am pretty good on that, not in long and short memory, but in that kind and sensory memory, for me is more clear than the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know. I think that I understand what you mean. Yes, I'm saying about the sensory memory is this initial, the initial that you have, how do you catch things from the real world? That's all. Is the moment that you catch, not the memory, this what you store there.
Because I think yeah, I think I know what you mean. So we catch these moments and these experiences, and then I think our brain filters out, doesn't it? The
Exactly, and there is an interpretation.
So yeah,
processes.
Yeah, so Manuel, for example, the things that you're remembering, you know, those tastes, those sounds, the things that you saw, those are the things that your brain has considered are important enough to remember. There will be other things that your brain has decided are not relevant or not important, so you don't remember those. But the things that you
That's-
do
yes,
remember are
that's
things
right.
that your brain has considered are relevant for some reason. Maybe it's because, you know, it was a particularly nice smell that you want to remember because it was a, you know, it was nice. That's why.
Even, sorry,
Sorry.
even the smell is one of the strongest memory. The smell. When you smell something,
Yeah.
you can remember the whole situation, the emotions as you feel in that moment. Mhm.
Yeah, I've heard about I can't remember the name of it, where they introduce a smell to help students recall things.
Yes, smell and sounds. Yes.
Smells and sounds, no, because it can
Yes.
help to stimulate memory.
Exactly. Yes,
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's what I said. What I mean when I said that the more senses you use in order to stick one vocabulary or one piece of information, the better is going to learn. They are going to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you can, if you can involve as many of the senses as possible, it's going to be much easier to recall it later.
Exactly.
Yeah, really good. Does that answer your well, it wasn't a question, Manuel, but does that clarify things?
Yeah, has sense. Has sense.
Yeah.
And the other thing, it was that you told us that choreography you learn inconsciously.
No, you
Is-
don't learn. No. The long-term memory is an unconscious memory,
yeah.
but it doesn't mean that you don't know. It doesn't mean that you learn a choreography unconsciously. What
Yes.
you do unconsciously related to a choreography is that you don't know how you do that because you have learned step by step. First, the first step, one movement with the music, okay? But when you have the whole process, the more difficult the process is, the more difficult the thing that you learn is, it is going to be easier to recall in the moment that you need. In this case, a choreography, you don't think, how do I learn this in that moment? No, you have the muscle, in your muscles, you have the memory of that movement. That's what I mean.
Yeah, so you don't need to think about what you're doing. This became it became really clear to me when my daughter was learning to drive, because you know she
Yes.
moved from the phase of being completely unaware of what she didn't know when she wasn't interested in driving because she wasn't old enough. Then she got to the age where she was going to be old enough to learn to drive. So she started to be aware of what she didn't know.
Exactly.
And then she started to learn to drive, and you know, everything, you have to pay attention to every single detail, you know, the way you press the pedal, which pedal you press, you know, the indicators, everything is you have to be, it's conscious. And then, you know, I was thinking, it made me think how I drive, you know, I don't think about anything really, unless something different appears. You know, for example, if a dog runs in front of the car, you suddenly are conscious and aware of what you're doing. You know, you're pressing the pedal, you're pressing the brake, you're pressing because it's something different that interrupts that unconscious stream. You know, we just do it because we know how to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, it's the same with like a choreography, isn't it? You know, we've learned it so well, we don't need to riding a bike, anything. We don't need to be conscious of what we're doing.
Exactly. This is the unconscious part of long-term memory. This is the same when you build a habit. The process was difficult. Step by step was difficult, but when you have it, that's the best.
That's it.
That is you are automatized.
Exactly, which is, yeah, we were talking about this with grammar recently in one of the sessions, how we can make grammar, you know, how to make grammar more automatic so that you free up more space for the more difficult things. So, you know, It's like, you know, one day we didn't know how to say I like playing tennis, but you know, we practiced that so many times at school and it becomes so automatic, then we don't need to think about how to give your opinion because you know how to do that, which frees up the space then to learn other more difficult, complicated things, you know, related to grammar. But so yeah, it's one of the things we were talking about, how to make language, the language more automatic, what strategies we can use, what processes we can do. So that was quite interesting. Anything else, Manuel? Was that Karina? Do you have anything you'd like to? Karina's got a question. Could you share some techniques, tips to train short-term memory?
Okay, one of the techniques could be first involve more senses. This is one of the things in order to stick the data, the information in the short-term memory. Because if you stick in the short-term memory, it is not other way to go to long-term memory, and it's going to fix that in the long-term memory. This is one of the things. Another important thing that we need to know is that if you have to study, for example, in two periods of 40 minutes, for example, you need extra activities in order to divide these periods of class in 20 minutes, and you stop doing what you are doing and introduce an activity that could be a relaxing activity or an energizing activity. Have you heard about the brain breaks?
I was just going to say, is this what you're talking about, brain breaks? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And it is important. Yes, it is important because when you see a student that is yawning, when you are in your class and you see a student that is yawning, or the student is looking at another place or thinking about another planet, you can be able to read these signals, and immediately you have to have your activity there, and you need to determine if you need energizer or relaxing activity. In this case, it's an energizing activity, and it could be if this activity involves an exercising is better because you move everything, you activate everything, you activate attention, activate the attention increase. Okay, but it is different if you are going to start, for example, taking an exam, taking an evaluation, or evaluate something from the students. You need a relaxing activity.
Okay, so brain breaks. Okay, so we've got involving the senses and taking brain breaks. I mean, I think I read somewhere that a brain break can be as simple as standing up, walking to the other side of the room and coming back down and sitting down. So maybe for, you know, my adult learners who are kind of learning independently, it could be, you know, as simple as that, couldn't it? Just standing up, going to get a drink and coming back down and sitting down and continuing.
Yes, for adults, it could be easier. For adults, could be easier because you know that they can, if you say go to drink some water or take a walk for 5 minutes, something like that, you know that the adults is going to do that. Adults are going to do that. But if you handle students, it is different. You need to be more specific. But for example, one of the activities that you can do to energize is, okay, let's draw a pizza, or let's draw depend of the vocabulary or the topic that you are teaching. You can say, okay, take a piece of paper, divide the piece of paper, and if you are talking about, I don't know, medicine, about healthy habits, or foods, for example, you can say, okay, you are going to draw an apple with your right hand, and then let's practice with the left hand. With the right hand or with the left hand.
With the left hand.
And this is one energizer. And you can, if you can do it with risk, if you can increase the dopamine, you can set a timer. And the first who finish, okay, you activate the class.
So what do you, so for people who, so that's in a classroom situation. So for adults who are learning at home alone, for example, they don't go to classes, but they want to use strategies to help them learn better. What do you think? What would you say? What would you recommend that they do? What do you think is the most important thing that they're doing in their language learning practice?
Okay, I think that first the elements that I mentioned at the beginning. You have to exercise.
So all the other habits first
activate, yes,
must be in place. Yeah. Hydrate, sleep well. Try to, if you need to learn difficult things that you are complicated for you, you can do it for small periods and then take a rest. Okay, because every time you take a rest, if it is a sleep, it's better. If you can sleep, it's better, because sleeping consolidates memories. Yeah.
And for learn languages, another thing is practice. If you have difficulties, if it is hard for you to write, you have to write. If it is hard for you to speak, you have to speak. Exactly. Find the moments and create the environment around you. Okay, if you need practice more grammar, you need I don't know what is the structure that it is difficult for me. I can take out and write, put it on the fridge. Okay, create the environment.
Brilliant. Okay, yeah, I like that. Is that Karina, does that help? That answer your question?
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Hannes. That's right.
Okay. Anything else? I don't want to keep Fannes here too long. She's been very kind to come and join us. I know, Fannes, that lots of people in the community really wanted to come to the talk, but like I said, it coincides with their work time. But they're definitely going to catch up in the with the recording, and a lot more people will see. Well, I'm sure you can share it with your community too.
Yes.
When I'll write the blog post and I'll send the link, and I know lots more people will see this, because I know lots more people are interested. And I think for me it's so important, because you know I mean I always say that I work with a lot of people who adult learners who are like me, very interested and motivated to learn a language, but very short of time. You know, because we have so many other commitments. You know, we have our family, we have our work life, we have our other hobbies, and it's difficult to find time. And the more we can make the time that we have productive, and you know, see that we get results, the more encouraging and motivating that is. And you know, it helps us fit language learning into our daily life, which is what we want to do. But we just don't know how to do it. So I think you know, following a brain-based approach really helps to do that, and to make it possible to learn a language and do all the other things that we have to do in life.
Yes, definitely. I have said we have to create the environment. This is the most important thing. Create the environment, and then set a goal, design a plan, follow the steps. What are the steps? Include the good habits in your life.
Yeah. I'm going to say, Karina, Manuel, she sounds just like me, doesn't she, Fanny?
Yeah.
I say all the things that I say, all the things that I keep saying every week. You see,
a copy.
Yeah, it's not just me, you see. It's not just me.
It's not only you.
It's common. Or common
Is
sense.
common sense. Is
That's
common sense, exactly. Yeah, yeah. But it's common sense, but it's common sense that that a lot of people we don't stop to think about. So, you know, it may be common sense, but in our busy lives, we don't stop to think sometimes what the best way is. We just continue with the way we know. And if the way we know is
Exactly.
opening a textbook and filling in the gaps and, you know, we continue because it takes effort to find another way and to, you know, to try another way. It takes effort and it takes courage, because doing something, you know, is not easy to do something different, and we do have to be brave and you know, try something, because it may not work if it's something we've never done, you know, first time. It may not be for us, but I think exploring, experimenting and being curious are all the best things we can do to help
Yes,
ourselves.
and now we have lots of entertainment, and people in new generation think that things need to be quick, and if you want to learn a language, it requires effort, and you need to know that.
Yeah,
You need to
yeah,
be
no,
conscious.
no, I mean, we can't lie. We can't, you know, we can't say it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. There'll be some things which are easier than others, but learning a language, like learning anything, requires effort. But if we can make that process more enjoyable, then the effort seems worth it, and we're much happier to put that effort in, because you know, for one, we can see that we're going places, we're getting, you know, we're working our way towards what we want, and if it's enjoyable at the same time, much better.
Definitely, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that I'm going to let you go, because you've been here for almost an hour, and I really appreciate you coming along to speak to us. Like I say, there will be lots more people who are going to see this and listen to this and benefit from your words of wisdom. Manuel, Karina, would you like to say anything to Fanest before we go?
No, only thank you, Fanny, to share your knowledge and how to train our brain in the better way.
Thank you.
It's really not easy. It's not easy because we are accustomed to old way to learn, and then we need to change. We need to change our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we need to change our mindset. That's right.
That's right. That's the first step.
Yes.
But it can be done. It can be done. And I think, yeah, the benefits are definitely worth it, aren't they?
Lifelong, yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we're going to share this with everybody, and hopefully we'll all go on the same path together.
I really appreciate your invitation. I really appreciate you. You know that we have difficulties to manage to handle this, to coordinate this meeting, but finally we can do it. We could do it.
we did it because we knew it would be worth it. We've been trying to organize a time for a long time, haven't we? We couldn't coordinate our timetables.
From October,
but
exactly.
it's like anything. If it's worth it, you never give up, do you?
Thank you.
And it was definitely worth it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. You are a very kind person.
Oh,
I like it so
you
much.
are very kind.
I enjoy
very kind for coming along. And Fanest, yeah, we would can you just share very quickly, so for people who want to follow you and are interested in what you're talking about and what you're doing, where can they follow you?
I have an Instagram. Instagram and Facebook. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and
is it Neuro Global? Is it
Neuro Red?
Neuro Red, that was it. Neuro
2021. Mm-hmm. Neuro Red
2021.
2021. Mm-hmm.
NeuroRed 2021. Okay, I'll add that in when I write the blog post.
That's correct. Yes,
put that
yes.
there. Yes. Okay. That's brilliant. Well, I recommend that that you do follow Fannes, because she does
Thank
some interesting
you.
things.
I really appreciate
Okay.
it.
Okay. Well, enjoy
That
the
was a
rest of your
pleasure for me.
day. And
Thank you for
we'll be in
coming.
touch. Thank
Bye
you. Bye bye.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye, Karina. Bye. Bye, Lisa.
Manuel.
Manuel. Bye,
Meet
Manuel.
MTV. He's
Thank
got a funny
you.
name today. Bye bye. Bye bye.